So I'm doing a kitchen renovation right now. One of the things I'm doing is replacing the windows. The whole house is getting them. We're putting in the European tilt lock windows. I bought these from a local place here, and I specifically said I wanted remodel windows, but when I picked them up, it was like a 4-month wait to get them because they're from Germany. When I picked them up, they have nailing flanges on them. So obviously, if you've ever installed windows before, nailing flanges go on the outside of the house sheathing. If you already have your siding, we have brick. I'm not taking brick out. So I have to take these nailing flanges off. So I'm doing a video on how I got these windows in. Because when I first got them, I was like, wow, these aren't gonna work. We just spent a ton of money and these aren't gonna work. But I did figure out how to get them to work. And I'm also gonna be showing, because I've searched YouTube quite a bit. So these old windows with these aluminum tracks here. This is a wood window with chintzy single pane. You can hear anything through these. So I'm gonna show how to remove these. And yeah, so hopefully it's helpful. So the first thing that I do is I go through, and you can see all of these screws out, and there is a lot. All the way around the whole perimeter of the window. Three more sides. So when you get these nailing flanges unscrewed, then you'll find that they are held on, at least these windows are held on with silicone caulk or some sort of a sealant that's very difficult you can't just pull these off. So if you get pry bars of any kind, screwdriver to start it, whatever. So I'll show how that goes. So I like to get them started just like this. So you can see there's a white sealant in there. I'm thinking that's silicone. I work at it. You get this pried, and then you very carefully will take another screwdriver or pry bar and pry it as you go. So as you can imagine, this is a little bit harder one-handed while I'm holding the phone, but you can kind of see how it pries out. And then what I'll do is take a screwdriver just to hold that place. Please don't move down to the next side here and pry. And it really helps if while you're prying, you have one of your hands kind of pulling. That makes it a lot easier. And every video I've ever seen of these is being installed on either a new build house or a house that has all the siding ripped off. So you can use the nailing flange as it's intended. It's just not how I ordered them, but it's what I got. Ideally, you wouldn't have to do this, but they don't take these windows back, I don't think. Nor do they even make them for remodel purposes, from what I have seen. And I really wanted these windows. One nice thing is you will end up with about 60,000 of these little tiny self-tapper screws once you're done. Yeah, it's free screws. I'm kidding though. I'm just gonna throw those screws out because it's a toxic trait. I think I need them for something in the future, but I don't know what I'm gonna use them for, so just throw them in the trash. So there's a little, this holds the glass in. And I have to pry that out because the way that these work, or the best way, or the way I have to do them because of the way I'm installing them, I take the glass out. So yeah, I'm gonna basically pry these off, and then I can take the glass out, and then I can prepare my actual window. Because taking those things out, those old school wood windows, they're a pain. So if you have these old windows, it's got this aluminum track. Springs are inside of here, inside this part, and this window rides in this channel. The upper sash rides in this channel here, And if you just try to pull them out, you'll shatter the glass. It's a big mess. So what you first have to do, tiny little nail. There's a tiny little nail at the bottom of this. So I get these out. You have to be very careful, don't mangle this. So get that out on both sides. Pretty easy to do. Try not to mangle up any of the window. But once you get that free, and you can see that that's moving, you can slide this sash down and do the same thing for the top, because there's nails up under here. There's nails directly in the center, so you have to go bottom first, top second, middle, then this whole thing will come out, hopefully. And then I use needle nose pliers to pull the track. This right here is where the spring is. So you have to disconnect it up here, because this is gonna wanna, the window's held on with the spring. It's gonna wanna hold up there. What you need to do next is to take this spring and unhook it. See how it's wrapped around there? And I use needle nose pliers to go between these top. Grab onto that, lift it, and it will drop back down in there. I can't do that with one hand. It's quite a pain in the ass, but that's what you gotta do. There's a better view. So I got the pliers on that. You just lift it, wiggle it, and don't just let it go. It'll snap. But now your window is free. And what I do next is I pry this flange right here. I pry that flat and flat. You actually only have to do one side. You'll see. You don't have to do both, because the window can come out still. Your sash. Just got to do that 4 more times. 3 more. No joke, when I first did these, it took me, I think, 4 hours to get one window out. I just could not. I was on YouTube looking for videos, and nobody would show this particular style, and it's really not that bad once you do it this way. And you probably want to hold down the sash before it comes up at you, but once you get the springs out, it doesn't do that. So yeah, you got to do this to 8 springs in total. It's really not that bad, but if you don't do this, it's just a nightmare pulling these out, because the springs want to hold the windows to the whole frame. And there's a lot of tension on these springs too. Once you have your remaining upper sash down here, you just want to go through and pry out these nails if possible. So these are holding, these aluminum tracks are holding the window sash in. voila, track comes out, springs are in there, easy. So, now, if the astute of you may have noticed that is a much bigger window than would fit in either one of these. So this center mullion, I don't know what you'd call that, it's just, this has to come out. You can probably just skip ahead because it's going to take a little bit of time and it probably doesn't apply to you. Or you can watch. So as I mentioned earlier, this window still needs a good amount of prepping to get it to work in here. First step is to take these little, I guess they're kind of like a door stop or a weather strip kind of thing, but that's what actually holds the glass in. So as sketchy as it is, they're made to do this. You have to use what I'm gonna use, not a screwdriver. That's not what I want. Where the hell are you? So I use a 5-in-1, and just, you can put it right at that gap, and then you just hit it with a hammer, and you start in the middle on the longest sides because it's a little bit flexible. You can't start at the end, they're mitered. It is a little sketchy considering you don't want to scratch these, but the one I did over there didn't scratch it. Probably will for the video though. Still feels sketchy, but the first one's always the hardest. But so then this just pulls down and out. Save it, don't throw it away. Probably don't need to be told that. So I'm gonna do that to the other 3 sides. Also, it works a little easier if it's on the ground. I don't know why I did it standing up before, but it's a lot easier if it's on the ground. That way the glass doesn't fall out on you. And if you break it, that sucks, obviously. So yeah, do it if you can do it on the floor. Surprisingly, I didn't scratch or chip the paint or whatever this is on any of them. That's good. I have a good feeling about the rest of this. So here, what we're looking at is the spacers. This keeps the window from being in contact with this PVC frame. So you got one here, one there, one there, one at that end, another one. So there's 2 per side. I've enlisted the help of my wife. We're gonna stand the window up and then take the glass out.
Right.
So once you get it, just hold this frame.
Yep.
There you go.
There goes our little thingies.
Yeah. So let's get this. You can leave this will stay up.
Okay.
So grab it. Yep. Pull her out. Set them on that cardboard here. So these are the spacers. They don't stay in, so you have to tape them in when you're putting the window glass back in. Why did I just throw that? We're still not done prepping this thing because I'm doing this as a replacement window there needs to be on the sides, I need to drill holes through these frames. I'm using if I had to guess, because I don't know what the size is, I'm saying it's a 3/16 drill bit. And then these are the screws I'm going to be using. These T25 deck screws. They're 3-inch. Seem to work really good. So I do 2 holes on each side, 2 screw locations. So you have to drill through, and it takes a while to screw through these because, like I said, there's apparently steel. I mean, you can see the steel shavings when you're done screwing, but the window frame actually has steel, which is nice. It's not just PVC. Probably seems like overkill to a lot of people, or why didn't you just order the windows? I don't think these come in proper replacement windows with the holes already drilled, with no nailing flanges. I couldn't find anything online. Every time I've ever seen these European windows installed, or German windows installed, it's been on brand new construction. They were made for new construction. So I have to modify these, either that or buy American windows. And after seeing the quality of these, I'll probably never buy Anderson, Pella, Marvin, any of that. That's like the price comparison for these. Like, you can see how thick this glass is. That's 1.5 inches thick. Each one of these panes is tempered 6mm glass. This work that I'm doing is completely worth it for these windows. These are better quality windows than anything I've ever seen. I'll gladly do all this work to have these instead of some garbage Anderson 100 series, which is comparable in price, but those are a joke. They're so cheap and so shitty, and these are just great. So if anybody is looking at these windows and can't find them in replacement, this is what you would have to do, or hire somebody out to do it. But it's not that bad. It takes an extra hour or so per window, but totally worth it. So now with our holes here, these screws will fit all the way through pretty much perfectly. But I do need to countersink those just so they look a little better. Now that looks a little better. So the screw will sit nice and flush inside there. And then you do that to all of these, 4 of them. Not too bad. So now that my opening is prepped and then my window is prepped, I'm ready to take the frame of the window and put it in the frame of my opening. This is the easy part. So like I said before, I cut some, this is cedar fence picket, so it's 5/8. Cut a couple blocks of this just to get it up off the sill a tad bit. And this is so easy to, because you don't have to worry about all the weight of the window. You can do this with the glass out. So getting this square plumb level is exceptionally easy. I just get the screws set a little bit. They're not tight yet. Just so the window can't move in and out. And then I'll go through and I'll put shims behind. I don't put them behind the screws because it just splits the shims and they end up falling out and breaking. So I put it directly under or above every screw. And once I tighten it down, and you can see I have the laser making sure that it's level. So I got to do some adjustments. But yeah, you go through, get it all leveled, and then you have your frame in, secured, and then you're ready to take your glass, which is over there, pop it in, and yeah, then you spray foam it. And another reason I didn't want new windows is because we already have all the trim work, the aluminum bending and stuff like that. All that's done on the outside of the house. I didn't want to have to rip that off to open up the jamb or the opening here and then have to pay somebody to come, because I don't know how to do that shit, or I'm not good at it. So yeah, we want to just keep all that in place. Then I can just go outside and I can caulk in everything that I need to. The shims are going to be just above this, so when you tighten this down, it still acts as a shim. It does what it needs to do, but it doesn't split. Always put them directly above, and that holds it. Especially when you have this screw opposing that screw, and I put them at the very bottom of the frame. If you put them in the middle here, you can tend to bow your frame. I don't think you could bow this frame because of how substantial it is, but I do tend to put the screws, same for doors, way at the bottom, so you're not going to pull that joint apart, as long as you're not an idiot and you don't just blast through that. Another nice thing about a laser is you can pretty easily check. If this window was bowed, the laser would be in a different spot in the middle. But so as you can see, with the countersinking and using a black screw, it doesn't look too bad. You know, it's nice and flush. You'll never see that. And this is what I was talking about before. These spacers, they don't just attach to this. It'd be nice if they clipped in. So I have to use painter's tape. Just holds them in. And then again, the glass is going to cover that. You'll never see it. But I don't know how they expect you. This stuff just... Now for the glass. So you put the small ones in first, then the big ones, and then you're pretty much done. That part is a real big pain in the ass, but it's worth it. Because look at that. That's way better. Now we spray foam. So now we spray foam. I have the Pro gun where you screw the canister on the top. Awesome. You get so much more use of it. This will work though for one window. I took all the old insulation out that was around the window between the old door box or the old window box and the actual jack stud on all sides, because I want these to be soundproof. We have neighbors that shoot machine guns. Why, I don't know. And so there she is, spray foamed. I gotta pull some shims out still, but I'm gonna let this spray foam dry. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it taught you something, because like I said, I searched all over YouTube, anywhere, to find how to properly remove those old windows without it being a giant hassle, and then also how to do these new construction windows to be remodeled. So that's how it's done. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. You can I don't know, order the right windows.